Point. And it still is, this particular section is known as Pirate Point. Because in 1800, there was a small vessel known as the Norfolk, which was pirated, seized by a group of convicts down the Hawkesbury. And they were making a bid for freedom up the coast, but they were caught by a southeasterly gale and blown upon shore here, and it was wrecked. So in a bid for freedom and a shipwreck, how apposite is it to come here? But Stockton has been touched by maritime disasters multiple times. A short walk from here is the breakwater along what was known as the Oyster Bank. And the Oyster Bank was one of the many navigational hazards which led into the mouth of the river here. And there were multiple vessels with significant loss of life along that Oyster Bank. And along the breakwater, you can go on a walk which is known as the Shipwreck Walk and see some of the remains of those vessels and think that there were, one of the vessels, the Kawara, I think there were 60 people killed when that was wrecked. So many people died. And on the other side of Stockton, on the harbour side, are the ballast yards. And the ballast yards were, when vessels came into port here, they would have heavy objects in the hull to stabilise the vessel whilst out at sea. And significantly, amongst the ballast, which has led to a lot of reclaimed land there, was a lot of ballast from the great 1906 earthquake in San Francisco. So as John was speaking, I was thinking, that's ballast. And what does ballast serve? Because when I was asked to speak, I thought back of a talk, a Hawa, a Buddhist Dharma talk that I gave back 18 years ago, called The Gift of Shame, a black armband or a white blindfold. Because at the time, for those of you who can remember, John Howard famously said he railed against the history wars were in progress there, and Howard railed against a black armband view of history. Now, the rejoinder, which came from Marcus Einfeld, who was a distinguished social rights activist, he was a jurist, a magistrate, but he said rather a black armband than a white blindfold to conceal the truth. And ballast is weight, and shame is weight, but it stabilizes us, because without shame, hence we call a person who's just out of control, we call them shameless. So the gift of shame is the stability to see the truth and to act accordingly, to act in ways which honor humanity. So it's very appropriate today that we're gathered here for this memorial to see, and I think the monument in that respect is perfect as is. I mean, you could maybe embellish it a little bit. It's perfect, and that's what shame is. It's ballast for us all. And without that balanced perspective on humanity and our shared humanity, we genuinely are lost at sea ourselves.